Hi, it's Melanie, movie maven gal for Pardesi. I'm here to discuss the new Prithviraj thriller, Adam Joan. Is it Adam Joan or Adam Joan? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Anyway, I had to drive. There's one theater in Chicago that shows Malayalam films, and of all the big Onam releases, the only one that we've gotten so far is Prithviraj's thriller. If you want absolutely no spoilers about this film, I'm going to try not to spoil it, but just the bottom line is, to me, it was maybe 2.5 stars out of 5. It's not my favorite Prithviraj film. I don't know why he is so determined to do these kind of religious themed thrillers this year. For an Indian audience and an audience in Kerala, it may have seemed extremely exotic because pretty much 90% of the film takes place in Scotland, which I actually just visited for a couple of weeks this summer. So the scenery is very familiar to me, but it would be unusual and exotic for an Indian audience. And there's nothing like a Scottish castle or, a creepy Scottish crypt or whatever to look really, atmospheric and add just that extra creepiness to a thriller. So it has a lot of atmosphere. The cinematography is really good. The scenery can't help but be beautiful because it's Scotland. And it starts really well with, you see a car on the side of a road, and all of a sudden a bloody hand gropes for a phone. And that's how the film starts, and it really kind of captures you right away. But then the pacing of the thriller is what, to me, kind of let me down. So Prithviraj, just as a baseline, is always fantastic. He is really polished and is great in this role. I also really liked, there was a guy that played his friend, I think his name is Narain, who I looked up, and the only other film I've seen him in was in Classmates with Prithviraj. So I thought he was particularly good. But, and another really good thing about it is, frequently when an Indian film takes place in a foreign locale, the actors that they get to play the locals are usually horrible. And this film did a really good job. The people that they hired were really good. Some of the ultimate villains and so forth. Sometimes it just seems, in Indian cinema, it can seem like the non-Indians are just like amateurs. And here they got good people. So that was a big point in its favor. But, sometimes Malayalam films just meander and take a long time to get anywhere and for anything to happen. And sometimes I really like that. But when you're talking about a thriller, sometimes the pacing was really super slow. And I enjoy songs in films. And during the romance flashback, there's one song, oh my gosh, where we end up on the honeymoon and Prithviraj just made this treehouse. Whoa, that was an amazing visual. But then there was a song after the interval when the action was really kind of picking up the pace, and it just seemed to just chop things and set us back, like we were moving at a pace, in the story, and then it just kind of brought everything to a grinding halt. So that the director this was his debut film. His name is Jinu Abraham. And so there was things that I really liked. It's a really different kind of story for an Indian film, but not maybe that different for someone who grew up watching Hollywood films. So, you have, again, this is where spoilers are going to start a little bit. So it has an abduction of a small girl. And then we have some family drama, and we find out that it is Prithviraj's daughter that has been taken captive. And so the other people involved seem kind of strangely calm, or just it just seems off. It just seems off. Well, then, someone that they go to talk to says, well, the reason it could be, I'm fearing this kid has been stolen to be in the sex slave or something like that, like the Liam Neeson Taken movies. But no. Okay, again, if you don't want spoilers, stop. A satanic cult. Okay, so this is what I mean. There were twists and turns that this film took that I wasn't expecting. So I admire that. Horror and thrillers are not my usual genre that I seek out to watch. So I was honestly surprised at several points in the film. I was like, what? We're going there? It really, took some turns I wasn't expecting. So I admire that. But then what brought me down was just, the last third of the film especially, I felt like we should have picked up the pace. If it's a thriller, my Hollywood sensibilities expect a faster pace to the action and the story. Now, when we do get to this climactic scene, Prithviraj does a great job, and there's some great stunt work in the final confrontation fight scene. So that was really good. So I don't know if the story completely worked for me, but I admire Prithviraj wanting to do... how many movies has this guy made? I can't even, not Mohanlal level yet, but the man has made dozens and dozens of movies. So I don't fault him on wanting to do something different. It's just because the other film that I saw this year was Ezra, which also had a religious thriller. I was like, why two similar kinds of things in one year? I wish he had broken it up with... maybe that's just how it worked out of the productions and but it just, it's like two of the same thing that's not necessarily what I would like to see Prithviraj doing. Now, I've seen quite a few Prithviraj films. I have not seen I've not seen everything, but I've even watched Stop Violence without subtitles. Okay, so that's how dedicated I am. That was an amazing film. I think Mumbai Police is my number one. That is a film that took twists and turns that I never expected and was amazing. Amazingly directed film, which a fantastic script. So it's not just that I want, Prithviraj to only do romantic dramas. That's not what I'm saying, because something like Mumbai Police I really loved. And I'd like him to do something that's really different and pushes the envelope. I just don't know that this was the film that did that for me. So I'm excited. Prithviraj is starting to go into directing. I think he's such a thoughtful, serious person that I'm really looking forward to see what kind of film he's going to make for us. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that his next film that he's in front of the camera and behind the camera is going to be something a little bit different than this, because when I found out that the little girl was half Jewish, I just went it's like Ezra, which I did not like at all. So what did you think if you saw this film? How do you pronounce? Is it Adam Joan or Adam Joan? And was it fresh feeling for you when you liked the creepy atmospherics of it taking place in Scotland? Or did you find it slow paced like I did? Let me know what you thought in the comments. And what is your favorite Prithviraj film? I still haven't seen Celluloid, and some other big ones that I've heard are really exceptional. What would you recommend I see next for my next Prithviraj film of his classics? If you'd like to see more film reviews like this of Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, and Hindi films and trailer reactions, please hit the subscribe button below. Follow us also on Twitter and Facebook at Pardesi YT. The YT stands for YouTube.